So what we're going to talk about is how to use RPR, Realtors Property Resource, to prepare a CMA. And by the way, Realtors Property Resource is a wholly owned subsidiary of the National Association of Realtors. It is a tool that's designed specifically for realtors, for agents. This information is not, or this website is not available publicly. So the public does not have access to this information directly. RPR is strictly for realtors, and this is a resource for you to be able to use. And in the past, I've talked about how you can use this for buyers, and giving them a property report that is very robust and has a lot of information about the property, and also gives you a lot of information as the buyer's agent about what's going on with the property, if it's investor owned or agent owned, or what's going on, the history on it, and et cetera. So there's a lot of good information on there. So now I want to shift gears and talk about the use of RPR for a listing agent, and why it could be an important tool to use with your listings. And one of the things is that it has a kind of a number of ways of valuing a property, very detailed to very basic. One of the things that I always do before I go on a listing appointment, so let's say this person right here, 7738 Kimball Court, they call me up and say, hey, I'm interested in listing my home. And so I schedule an appointment to go out and meet with them. First thing I'm going to do is look it up on MyBore and see if there's anything on MyBore. If I can't find anything on MyBore, I'm going to look them up on RPR. And so I looked them up on RPR, and here they are on RPR. They've never been on MyBore. This property hasn't sold in recent history on MyBore. However, it does come up in RPR, and it's off market. Okay. And the last time it sold was 6/6/2003. That's by public record. And that may be a MyBore sale, coming to think of it. There was another property I was looking at that wasn't in MyBore. But at any rate, so this property hasn't changed hands since 2003. So they've owned this house for a good period of time. And just looking at it here, it has 4 beds, 3 baths, probably 2.5 actually, 2,100 square feet. It's on a little over a 1/4 acre lot. Here's a picture of it, so I can see that it's a 2-story with a side entry garage. It's on a cul-de-sac. You can see here it's on a cul-de-sac, and I can see that the estimated the realtor valuation method. Now, what this is, this realtor valuation method, it's a combination of MLS information and public record information. So this also includes any for sale by owners and other type of properties that might have sold. And it's a pretty accurate estimate of value. However, you can modify this, and that's what we're going to talk about. And I can't go into complete detail on how to do this because there's information, this is very robust software, and there's quite a bit that you can do with it. So I'm just going to hit the highlights of it here. But I encourage you, there are good videos that are available through RPR on how to do CMAs using them. And you'll need to spend, maybe an hour, hour and a half learning all the ins and outs of how to use this. There's no way that I can do that in 15 minutes. So I'm just going to hit the highlights, kind of show you some of the features and the cool things that this software can do for you. So, so you've got all this information here. And then if you scroll down, you have pricing tools. You see this right here? Pricing tools. We have the closed price, okay? We have CMA value, refined value, and even a seller's net sheet that you could do. for this. And then we have property facts about the property itself. Okay. We have interior features. We have topography of the lot and legal description, the schools, and the listing history. And we can see that here's the last time it was listed, and it closed in 2003. And so, and here's the current owner. Here's the people that sold it to them. It's owner occupied. And so you've got quite a bit of information about the property here. So, but if we're going to go on a listing appointment, it's good to know this. And here's the price range, 322 to 393. So this price range is calculated by using price per square foot, and it takes the lowest price per square foot of nearby comps, and that's what this number is, times the square footage of this house. And that's what this number is. Then it takes the highest price per square footage of nearby sales and applies it to the square footage of this house right here. And it comes up with this number. So this is the high end, this is the low end, and then this is a calculated kind of an average. And when you see 5 stars here, it means that this method, that they found enough information that they're pretty confident that this is a pretty good price for this property. However, it doesn't give us any idea of what the condition of this property is currently. And so this is a good number to know. And these numbers here are a good number to go before you go on a listing appointment. Because then you have a ballpark. And one of the things that, when people get ready to sell their house, what do you think that they do before they sell their house? What do you think is one of the things that they do?
Look it up on Zillow.
Look it up on Zillow. That's right. They get a Zestimate. Or they might look it up on Realtor.com or any number of other websites. But what they're going to end up with is a calculated value, right? So this is a very accurate calculated value. A lot of the values out there, we all know how accurate estimates are. So whatever source that they've used, you might want to look at a couple of those sources before you go, because it can give you an idea of what they're going to be asking for, what they think their house is worth. Because it's going to be based on what they looked up on Zestimate. So if they looked up on the Zestimate and it was 360, then they're going to think their house is worth 375 or 380. Because why? Well, their house is always better than whatever other house might have sold out there. So they're always going to want more than what the Zestimate is. So at any rate, just be prepared for that. So you can come in here and you can actually do a CMA, or you can just refine the value. Now I'm going to show you the refined value first because it's real easy to do. And if you pull up the refined value thing here, what you can do is you can make any changes to this that might make a value change. So let's say that this is actually only a 3-bedroom house, but it says it's 4. So if you make that change in here and you put in 3 bedrooms, okay, instead of 4, and you're going to update the facts, and you can see that with 3 bedrooms, interesting enough, it added value to the house because it's 3 bedrooms. So that's interesting that it did that. That probably means that that's because they were 4 bedrooms, and so or bigger bedrooms. Let's see. Let me take this out. All right. So update facts. So we don't have any change of value here. But you can also refine based on home improvement. So let's say you go out to this listing appointment, and they say, well, we put a new kitchen in 2 years ago. Okay, so if you look up here, home improvement category, you can go down here, major kitchen remodel, mid-range, upscale. And so let's say it was a mid-range kitchen, because this looks like a mid-range house. So mid-range kitchen modification, they did it 2 years ago. So in 2021, and maybe they did it in June of 2021, and they paid $30,000 for that upgrade. Okay, so we can add that improvement, and it's going to depreciate that, but it's going to show value change from home improvement plus 14,661. Okay. And then you can continue on. You can do other home improvement categories. Okay, so you could go, well, you could do another one here. Maybe they did a mid-range bath remodel, and it cost them $5,000 to do that bath remodel, but they just did it last year in December of last year. Okay, so we add that improvement, and now they've added 17,000. That added a number 2,800 to the value of the home. Now there might be something down here that needs improvement, like maybe it needs carpet. And you're estimating that to carpet that home, or you get an estimate from somebody and they say, well, it's going to be about $3,000 to replace the carpet. Then you add that improvement in, and it deducts that out and refines your value up here. So now you have a refined market value. But you've also got some other market condition type things. So first of all, is this a slow market, average market, or hot market? Well, I think we would all agree it's a hot market. So we could probably bump this up. And every time you bump this, it bumps it by 5%. So if it's a really hot market, we might want to bump it a couple of marks there. Home exterior condition, let's say that it's equal to everybody else around. You didn't notice anything outstanding about the exterior. The interior maybe was a little better than average, so we bumped that up a little bit. Lot size was equal. View was fine. Privacy, let's say that it had equal privacy, and so now we've bumped up some values here in terms of change from market conditions. And let's see where I want to go here. Back here. And so now I have a refined value of 371,759. So you see that? And so now I've refined that value. And that's how quick and easy it was to do. I'm going to show you just briefly the CMA. So if you go to create CMA over here, it's going to take us into this information. And it starts out with all of our property information right up here. The estimated value, the price per square foot, living area, lot size, beds, baths, year it was built, and etc. Now you've got two ways to do this. You can do a comparative analysis, or you can do a sales comparison analysis. If you want to know the difference, you just click on this, okay? And it'll show you what the difference is in a little video, okay? It'll walk right through it for you, okay? But I can tell you that comparative market analysis is a little less detailed than the sales comparison analysis. So if you want the most detailed, most accurate kind of CMA that you can do with RPR, you want to choose that. Now, when you choose it, it comes up and it says, if you are an appraiser, please enter your appraiser license number so we can include it in the report, okay? And your profile image, okay? So it pulls this up for appraisers, because appraisers also use this software. However, we're not an appraiser, so we don't need that added in, so we can just skip that step. And so the first step in doing a sales comparison analysis is we confirm the home facts. So we hit confirm facts, and it pulls up a very detailed information here about this property. And so we can make any changes to this that we might need to make in terms of beds and baths and full baths and half baths and living area and all of that. So we could make any changes in here to this that we might want to make. Let's say in this case, we're good with the facts, so we confirm it and close. Okay, now we can search for comps. So we just hit the button, find comps, and RPR is going to go out and find some comps for us. Now we have to tell it what kind of comps we want. All right, so do we want actives, pendings, active, under contract, and close? So this is all of those. Now you could say I don't want any of the actives, but right now, just for comparative purposes, let's do that. And let's say we want within the last 3 months, or let's say the last 6 months. Okay, so I could choose last 6 months, or I could even do a date range. This is a drop down, so I could do last week, last month, last 3 months, last 6 months. I just chose last 6 months, see what we come up with. Now, beds, they've started with 3 or more bedrooms, 2 or more baths. Let's say you want, since this has 4 bedrooms, you want to compare it to 4 bedrooms. So let's put 4 in here. That way it'll pick ones with only 4 bedrooms and at least 2 baths in it. And living area it is bracketing hours, and we had 2,100, and maybe we want to make this a little closer to ours. So maybe instead of 1,500 square feet, we want 1,800 square feet there. And maybe over here, we want 2,500 square feet to kind of narrow the range of lot. And this is our price range that we're seeking and year built. We could also put in keywords here that it would look for certain keywords. At any rate, then we search for those properties, and it's going to pull up any properties that fit. So here's the closed sales right here. You can see them right here on the map. Okay, and if you scroll down, you see a list of these. So here's your comps. Now you can look through these comps and decide whether you want to use them or not. Okay. And there's a variety of ways that you can do this. You can click on this, and it's going to pull up the detail for that property. So you can pull this up. Okay, I can see this is a 2-story house. I like this. It opens it up in a separate window. So all I can have to do is close that window. Okay, I like that comp. Okay, what about this one here? Let's see it. Okay, Sunbed. Oh, this is a ranch. Okay, so I probably don't want to use a ranch, do I? Because it's not going to compare well, so I won't use that one. This one here looks like a 2-story, so I'm just going to kind of run through this real quick and add some comps over here that I can see in the small picture are 2 stories. Okay, so now I've got some comps. These are the comps that I'm going to use. Now I can also, from the standpoint of I can remove comps, I can add comps. So there's lots of different ways that I can do this. I can add a known property up here by clicking on this and putting that information in. But let's say I want to update my valuation and close now based on these comps. Okay, and so I've got 4 comps, price range of 350 to 450, or 165 to 213 per square foot. And now I can go in and adjust these comps. So here's where I go in and make my adjustments. And so I can look at this. And by the way, I can scroll through the photos here. I can make the photos bigger. So I can scroll through them and get an idea of what these comps look like inside. So that I'm comparing apples to apples based on what I'm looking at. And I can compare these to mine. And then I can come down here and make adjustments. Okay, so we have 4 bedrooms. All these have 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Now this one has an extra bath, 3.5 baths. So I might want to give them some value for that extra bath. Maybe I give them $5,000. So I have to deduct that because this property only has 2.5. So I have to deduct for that extra bath. And so maybe I take $5,000 off for that. These are both 2.5. full baths. This one has 3 full baths. Again, I did the total bath math over here, so I wouldn't do it again here. And then living area, I might want to make adjustments for my living area. So again, I have to do the math on this, and typically I would use maybe $50 a square foot in this price range for my math. But this property's the comparable is 2336, and my property is 2116. And so that means it's 220 square feet smaller. So I multiply that times 50, and that's $11,000. So I have to deduct $11,000 per square footage on this particular property. On the other hand, this one over here has got more or has less square footage, so I need to add on to make it equal. So I've got 2116 minus 1898 equals 218 square feet times 50, 10,900. So I add 10,900 to this value here, and so forth. So I make my adjustments, and then I can scroll down and I can see what the adjustments have done. And I can even weight these. I can change the weight of what comparables. So let's say, I looked at these comparables, and this one's really a good one. I could increase the weight of that. I won't right now, but right now I've got results of weighting and adjustments. I've got now a value of 393, so I can update valuation and close. And now I've got different valuations here. I can see that this one, the sales comparison analysis, and this one kind of are jiving, and I can create a report. So I just hit the create report button, and it asks me what kind of report I want. And I can do a seller report. I can do a property report. I can personalize the report. But let's say I want to do a valuation workbook. I can customize it by hitting this button, and I can add or delete section. I can take sections out if I don't want them to be part of it. I can, do this whole thing and edit it if I want. But I'll run the report here quickly so you can see what the report looks like. And this is going to be your CMA report then that you can share with your seller to give them an accurate pricing of the property. And it takes a minute to run here. And hopefully it will work for me this time. I ran one this morning, so I know it works. I did this one this morning. So I can show you it if this one fails. Okay, so there's my report. It's downloaded, and I pull it up here. It's a PDF. So I could easily email this, save it and email it, or I could print it out and take it back with me. And it's a nice branded CMA report. It's branded with Realty World. It's branded with your information on here. And it has information about the property and all the comparison analysis, the estimated analysis, RVM, valuation workbook. And you just kind of go through this whole thing, and it's got all kinds of great information in here, graphs and charts and maps and pictures. And so it looks like you've just spent literally hours and hours doing this. And I spent maybe 15 minutes doing this just now. So that's it in a nutshell. Again, we're out of time, so I can't I can't spend more time on it. But any quick questions before we end our Zoom meeting?
No question.
Okay. This is a robust tool, and it works pretty well. And it can be as detailed or not as you would like. So it is an alternative to using the Connect BLC CMA report. Again, you can get, there's lots of training available on this, or you can just go through it and play with it yourself and see how it works. But there are lots of great ways to use this tool. It's free. It's part of your NAR membership. All right. So I'm going to stop my share. And if there's no further questions, then what we will do is end the call.